everyone. So, before I get into the episode, the other day I was coming out of a store and I looked down and I saw a shiny penny and I picked it up. I don't believe that pennies equate to good luck. I don't even know where that came from. Like, if you pick it up and it's tails, it's bad luck. Like, that's just fucking ridiculous. I pick it up because I want to see if there's anything special about it. Like, is it like so old or something? Maybe I can get some money from it. I don't know. But I keep them. But I was thinking to myself, why the hell are there pennies on the ground? That's all you ever find. Maybe a nickel, maybe a stray dime, but you never find as many quarters. How the hell is it pennies are falling onto the ground, but not other change? What is that all about? Like, I'd like to find some quarters, like replace those pennies with quarters. That's worth picking up these days, but I don't know. I don't feel right walking by cash, and a penny is still cash. But I was just thinking, like, wouldn't it be nice if people would drop their damn quarters? How is it just pennies? But anyways, today I am talking about some of the stuff I do, I think is autistic. So for me, this is like my autistic way of doing things, or just in general, just, it doesn't have to be autistic because I am autistic, but this is the way I do some things. And, some other people do it differently, and the things I'm talking about are not like, they're just normal things, but like throughout my life, I've just noticed that like people never like the way I do the things, only they want me to do the way they want me to do, if that makes sense. So for example, how I peel potatoes. I think I might have talked about that before, so not all of this is going to be repetition, but I don't fucking know anymore. But how I peel potatoes, I put the potato on the cutting board and I just cut down, and well, the skin that comes off, it's also a good part of the potato. I don't know how to peel potatoes like people do. And I used to work in a kitchen, in dietary, when I was in an adult care facility. I used to cook and I used to cut vegetables. But nobody liked the way I cut the potatoes, probably because they were viewing it as like wasteful because they paid for the potatoes. But, I'm not coordinated enough to peel potatoes in my hand. I've tried before. I have cut myself. I don't know how the fuck people are able to do this so easily too. Like when I watch shows like Hell's Kitchen or something, it's just like, it's amazing to me that people don't cut themselves with those big old knives. But yeah, like I was not a fan of cutting it that way. And so, like, for a good several months, there was this one other person that worked with me that was trying to make an issue of it, but, like, the manager wasn't. She didn't really say anything about it, probably because she was my mom's friend, and my mom worked with me. This was, like, years ago when I got out of the military. And I don't know. I do the same thing at home when I'm, like, if I have to make, like, homemade soup because I really don't like to cook, but we put potatoes in ours, I just put it on the cutting board and I cut, and I don't care how much potato comes off with the skin. I try not to make it a lot, but that's normal to me. And I just turn the potato around until all of the skin is off, and then I wash and cut it. Does anybody else do that? Snow blowing versus shoveling. I've definitely talked about that before. I don't know why I put it on this list. But in case like you're not listening in order, I prefer to shovel no matter what. I hate snow blowing. No, thank you. That machine is just too hard to figure out when there's snow outside and the wind's blowing around and I don't know like what button I'm supposed to push, how much gas goes in there, where do I put it in? I would just stick to shoveling. I don't care. I don't think I'll ever use a snowblower again. Paper calendar versus phone calendars. So Alicia and I do this, I had this calendar sharing app thing on your phone. I think I mentioned that before. I just can't use my phone the way that a lot of other people seem to use it. Like they use their phone for everything. Calendar planning's one of them. Even like my therapist does it, like lots and lots of people do it, but I can't. I don't care how easy the app is. I have a problem, especially if I'm like on the phone for some reason, like with a doctor or something, and they want to know like, can you do this day? And if I would have to like try to check the calendar on the phone at the same time, that would freak me out because it's not easy for me to just like keep talking to somebody and flip over to like the phone calendar and then try to find the day. I don't know, like it's just so hard for me. I've tried so many times and now I only have it to look to see like what she's got going on, so I don't schedule stuff on the same day. Like that's easier, but for my stuff, and her stuff, I should say, it has got to be on a paper calendar. That's the only calendar I can understand and I have no issues with. There's a big one on the fridge. And then I have like one back here that I use for my stuff. And, I do better with the paper versions. And I'm not even really at the point where lots of people my age and younger and older use the calendar app on the phone or whatever other app they want to get. I don't know how people can do that so easily. Technology, some of it, it's like a foreign language to me. It's so hard to navigate. In the calendars on the phone are definitely one of them. Let me drink some water. Okay. What else do I have? So time management I've talked about before. When I used to work with other people, it seemed like nobody had time management. Like they could not manage their time properly. And it always baffled the hell out of me. Everywhere I've gone, like maybe there's like one or two people who keep on top of their stuff and they're pretty decent with it. But yeah, not with their time management. Like people were constantly turning things in late. This was like over the years, all the jobs I've ever had, people turn stuff late. They'll either do it late or they won't do it at all and make up some excuse. They will come to work and have like a jammed packed schedule that they had control of, that they choose to make that way. And then they wondered why they're so busy. Because they can't schedule things properly and estimate the amount of time it takes to do things. I don't know. I know that there's other autistic people that struggle with time management. I'm not poking fun at you guys at all. I'm just saying in my experience, I've rarely come across people, even Alicia, she's not always the greatest with her time management. She's just not. And my office would always be so organized and smelled so good. And I did all of my shit on time, just about every single day. Like, how hard is that? And I'm still black and white on this. I still really dislike it when, I have an appointment and I show up somewhere and, they're late. Like, I'm sorry, like, even with the doctors, like, I shouldn't have to sit there for, like, half an hour, but I've talked about that before. But, use time management properly. I don't understand how this is an issue. Sit down, get a calendar, or make a schedule of some sort that makes sense to you. Plan out what you have for the day and then the next day, and then look at it frequently so that you're not just doing bullshit. I had this one person I worked with in the military. It was like working with a 5-year-old. We were emergency action controllers. I was the senior in charge and she was the junior. And this bitch, like, oh my God, she was like 18, but I was only 19, so it didn't really matter, 19 or 20. But like we would have our 2 stations, each with our own computers and our work areas, and mine always had everything at the ready because we had to pull out an emergency checklist book for things that would happen around the base, and I was always prepared for whatever phone call we would receive. This bitch was not like that at all. And me being the senior, like I was in charge of how things went, and I hated working with that chick because she just spilled shit everywhere. She damaged like expensive pieces of equipment and they still let her like work the way she does. She had like bottles of water with her tops off all on her side of the desk. She'd have like mugs of coffee. Sometimes she would dribble it on her uniform, which you don't do. You have to be careful. And like she would run the wrong checklists for situations that, if we got called about a fire on base, what do you do, like, if they haven't called 911? You call 911 because that was our job. And I remember one time this bitch, like, there was a call about a fire, and I was like, call the fire department. She couldn't even do that. She couldn't find the checklist. The number was really simple, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? Sorry. I just don't know. How are you that disorganized at work? What do you got going on? Like, I don't understand it. And there are so many people like that I've come across that have just, oh God, I just can't. Because whenever somebody would be like, oh, I don't think I can get this, because I had stuff I needed done too, and people were not on time with stuff that I needed. And I never understood it. And I know I sound judgmental, but really, like, it's hard for me to understand why people can't just sit down, write stuff out, and stick to it. I don't know. So with problem solving, I like to go with my gut. I also like to go with my gut on decision making. So, like, with problem solving, you know how there's people who are, like, pretty analytical. Like, I'll use Alicia as an example, but she's not the only example. She's a pretty analytical thinker. Like, we're pretty opposite in just about every way. And when there's, like, some problem that needs to be talked about, she'll want to go through every scenario and what if this, and should we try that? And then she'll give me 2 options and be like, which do you think? I'm like, go with this one. And she's like, well, yeah, but what if? I'm like, then fine, go with the other one. And then she's like, well, and I'm like, then why did you ask me? You gave me 2 choices. I picked one. You don't like it? Pick the other one. And I have other people, like, I've done this with too. Whenever there's, like, a problem, these days, like, ever since I've gotten out of the military, because you can't really go with your gut in the military. Like, it's different sometimes in some situations. But I go with my gut. I see a problem. I have a general solution, and then I work on that solution. And then I've talked to other people like her, other people I used to, like, work with. It's not a bad idea to talk through situations at work at all. You should. But you don't have to do it with every damn thing. Like, there was just some people that wanted to just, well, what if this happened? And what if that happened? And, like, well, I don't know what to do in this situation. And I'm like, just fucking make a choice and try it. Like, just try it. Just pick something and do it. And if it goes wrong, try another way. I never understood why people wanted to, like, plan something out so carefully. To me, that's disappointing. If I plan something out that carefully and it doesn't go the way I want it to go, I will feel even more devastated, because this happens to me on a regular sometime. Well, yeah, I think on a regular. No, not on a regular. If I expect things to go a certain way and they don't, I'm disappointed. This would be even more so. Does that make sense? I don't know. But, like, when I used to meet with clients, like when I was in the addictions field, this isn't clinical. This isn't probably, like, this is frowned upon. It was frowned upon when I would, like, make choices like this. Like, we would have a client that had a really bad situation going on, and it didn't seem like anything would work for them. And everybody else would be like, well, we tried this, but maybe we can try it again. And, like, I thought of an idea that I thought was, me and a couple other people thought were pretty decent. And it was based on my gut. Like, it's just, like, I heard the problem in my gut. Like, I immediately thought of something, and that's what I go with because I feel like it's right. That's, like, what going with your gut is. And apparently you're not allowed to make decisions like that. And that was such a struggle everywhere I worked, because that's how I make choices the majority of the time, is I go with what I feel. And that gets me into trouble sometimes, because, you can't always... Oops, excuse me. Sorry. That was a cat. What was I saying? You can't always go with your gut, I guess, because I don't know, people are scared of intuition. It's just so bizarre to me. Like, everywhere I worked, well, if you don't have, like, the proof, or, like, that obviously will not work. That sounds ridiculous. Why? Because you haven't thought outside the box. So I was always the person that went with my gut, And I'm sorry if this sounds arrogant, but 90% of the time I was right. I will give 10% away because people make mistakes and, but I was 90% right whenever I go with my gut. And especially at work. Like, that's how I identified sociopaths. Not that I'm not saying, like, oh, you're a bad person. But, like, I was able to spot personality disorders a bit quicker. And I'm not a therapist. And so I would refer these people out to, like, a therapist to get diagnosed. And they would. And so, because working with sociopaths and psychopaths is so difficult. Because they don't want to do anything. But yeah, I don't know. Problem solving, decision making, it's almost one and the same to me sometimes. It's just, I go with my gut. I feel like I'm usually right. And it bugs me that other people don't trust that. What else? Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I don't need that. Sorry, I'm a little disorganized. Pizza eating, have I talked about that before? I eat a pizza, like, I have a slice of pizza, and I guess people fold it, which is weird, or they just eat it regularly, which I guess is normal, probably the folding part too, but I can't just pick up a piece of pizza and eat it. Like, I pick away the cheese and I eat that, the sausage, the pepperoni, and I'll eat all that off, and then I'll eat, like, the dough part, and then I'll just keep going like that throughout the whole piece. Like, I don't just like to bite into it. I like to taste, I don't know, that's what I do with sandwiches too, but I never understood, like, why people just kind of, like, ate it like that. It doesn't seem like you're enjoying it very much. You're just folding it and shoving half of it in your mouth while you're doing something else. Like, how is that enjoyable? So I don't eat pizza normally. And even when I'm out in public, I will eat pizza this way. I don't care. Bed making. Like, do you tuck or do you not tuck? I don't understand what the purpose of tucking is. Like, do people really not move when they sleep? Like, come on. I hated tucking. Like, my mom used to make me do it, and I didn't like it because I felt so claustrophobic. I didn't like that the sheets and the blankets were just so tight around me. Like, I've never liked that kind of, I don't know what to call it, but I've just never liked that, like, that pressure. And she would make me do it because she was so controlling. And then when I would go to bed for the night and she was gone, I would untuck everything because I move around a lot. And it's not a good feeling to be, like, trapped in a tight-ass blanket or sheets. I don't know. I don't understand why people sleep like that. Maybe they feel cozy and snug, and that's okay, but I've never understood that. So I never tuck anything in. I put the bottom sheet on. I fight Alicia with, like, so, like, the bottom sheet that goes on the bed, the wrapper, whatever that's called, the stretchy one, and then you put the other sheet on top of that before you put the blankets. I always try to, like, not have that sheet because I hate it. It always gets tangled around me. I always get strangled, like, not my neck, but my stomach, and I wake up and I'm wrapped in that fucking blanket, and it's so hard to get out of. And plus, like, having a hot flash and being, like, trapped in fabric, I don't know. So that's the only thing that, like, we have issues with, but she doesn't mind the untucking because we're messy, man. We are messy ass sleepers. I don't know what goes on when I'm sleeping, but I wake up and, like, I'll have all of the blankets on my side, or they're all pushed off the bed, or they're rearranged, the pillows on the floor. Like, I don't know what goes on. And I just sleep against the wall. But yeah, I don't tuck. I think that's just, I don't know. Is that normal? Like, do people still do that? So shopping carts. Do you put them back or do you not? How about you put them back? I always view it as how rude. Like, you go to the store, they provide you with a shopping cart, you use it to put your crap in, and you go pay for it, and then you leave to go to your car, and you can't be bothered to put the fucking cart back up by the store. Like, a lot of them have those holders for carts in the parking lot, and I've seen people not even be bothered to put it in the fucking holder when their car is, like, 2, like, spaces away, and they'll just leave it rolled out in the middle of the spots. Like, why? Why are you that lazy? Like, you did all the work. Like, you got out of your car, you went inside the store, you got that cart, you walked all around that store, getting all the crap that you wanted. You stood in line. You waited for other people to pay, and then you paid. So there's more time. Then you go out to your cart and you put all the crap inside of it, and you can't put that fucking cart away? How is that like, oh, too much? Like, how is that too much? Because you have to get home that bad or to your next destination that bad? Like, I don't know. I really despise it when I see people doing that. Just lazy. Like, that's not your store. You chose to go there. That's their cart. They would like it if you put it back in place. It would make their job easier. Why don't people think of stuff like this? And then my last thing that I had on my list was, like, when you hear bad jokes, do you laugh? Like, do you fake laugh? Because I don't think we autistics do that. Or at least, like, a good portion of us don't. I don't know. That's just, there's no stats to back that up. That's just what I think. But yeah, like, even with Alicia, she'll, like, there's some meme or something on her Facebook and she'll show it to me and she'll be laughing so hard and I'm like, and it's so stupid, the meme. And I'm like, this is what you laugh at? Like, you think this is funny? You know, like, that kind of stuff. I do not fake laugh. So it's like a little bit of a situation over the course of my life, because people will tell me jokes, or they'll try to be funny or show humor or something, and it's just not on my wavelength. Like, it's just, I like sarcasm. I'm into, like, humor, like, you know, the comics I've mentioned before. Chelsea Lately, Sarah Silverman, all the other ones I mentioned before that I can't think of right now, Margaret Cho. Like, I wouldn't say dirty comedy, but I like comedy without filters. I like it to be sarcastic. I don't know. I just don't watch, like, those stupid parody movies. Do you know what I mean? Like, that kind of dumb comedy. I don't like it. I don't get it. I think it's just stupid. And I've had many people over the years, like friends, coworkers, you know, even Alicia, they don't like it when I don't laugh. And so it would just be me and the other person talking, and they're laughing when they tell me this thing. And the expected response is that I laugh. But I don't. And then I can sense that they feel awkward, but I don't. And I would usually get like, oh, that's not funny. And I'm like, no, but you know, it's good that it's funny to you. And I've been called rude. Oh God, like, I'm so tired of when people used to, because, you know, I don't really spend a lot of time among the people anymore. But yeah, I did not like being labeled as rude. I was called rude, mean, just because I did not laugh. I didn't say that you were dumb for laughing at your dumbass joke. You felt uncomfortable because I didn't laugh. It was awkward for you, and you want to be a dick about it. Like, that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Alicia's not like that. It's just, she should know better. Like, she knows my sense of humor. Don't show me something that you know I'm not going to laugh at, because then you're not going to like that. I don't know. I don't get fake laughing. Like, ah, ha, 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 fuck that. Like, I am not doing that shit. Like, I rarely laugh at ordinary people because they're not fucking funny. They're just not funny. I'm drawn to no. Or I'll just say ordinary people. Or what are we called? Am I diverse? I'll just stick with ordinary people. We're not ordinary people. But, yeah, I would see lots of people fake laugh at them. And I would always think to myself, you are so not authentic right now. And you are just laughing because you think it's the polite thing to do because you want to make the other person feel okay. And despite my people pleasing in the past and my masking and stuff like that, that was like the one thing I didn't budge on. Like, I'm not laughing if it's not funny. I'm not going to give you a fake response just because, you know, you're looking for it or you expect it or whatever. No, like, I recommend that you take you evaluate your sense of humor and maybe do a stand-up somewhere at like a bar and see if people laugh. If you think you're funny, go do that. And when nobody does, stop fucking telling your jokes, because they're not good. I don't know, like, how this took this turn. That's all I had on my list. I actually, like, rearranging the house today to prepare for, like, Christmas decorating, and I thought I would take a break, and because these are things that I've been thinking about. Like, I prefer the way I do everything. I think my way is the best for everything, and I'll probably do more episodes like this because it's hard to think of all the things. But usually, like, unless it's just stuff I don't understand, the stuff that I do, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I just do things my way because it's probably, like, I've tried the ordinary person's way and it just never worked, but my way would for nearly everything. It just seems like, you know, the way I think and the way I cook and the way I talk sometimes, it's like, you know, people are so judgmental over stuff that they don't understand or that they just jump to conclusions on. And I will continue to do things the way that I want to do them because there's nothing wrong with it. And maybe I'm being confusing right now, but I hope not. I hope you know what I mean. Like, I mean, I could sit here for like 2 hours and talk about this shit if I knew what else to talk about. But this was as far as my list got. And, you know, I think that, like, us being autistic, we have to find our own ways of doing things because it seems, at least to me, like there's only a set amount of ways you can perform an action, like cutting potatoes, for example, or just anything other than what I've talked about. And if you don't follow those ways to get that thing done, then people think you're fucking weird. And if you do something so, like, I don't know, like how I cut potatoes, why the fuck are people giving me such shit over a damn potato? Is your life that miserable that you have to be like, you're not cutting the potatoes right, here's how you do it? And I say, I don't want to learn. And then they show me anyways. And then they come back an hour later. I told you that's not how you cut a potato. You cut it like this. Fuck you. I'll probably do more episodes like this because I like the way I do my shit. It works for me. You fuckers. Oh, sorry. That was mean. I'm not mad. I'm actually in a good mood. I'm just saying. Like, if people would just try things the way that we do them sometimes, they might just find that they're better. I consider myself more efficient. I'm very good with my time management and my organizational skills. I've talked about that before. You know, there are days where I'm just like, where am I going? What am I doing? Yeah, I have those days. But I just don't get people. And, like, I feel like my sense of humor is pretty decent. And if other people's aren't, that's not my problem. I'm not going to make you feel better about it. Get a better sense of humor or something. I don't know. Is that rude? Whatever. Okay. Well, that's what I had for today. Thank you for listening. I hope you can relate. Goodbye.